So, you plan and you plan and you plan. And sometimes you just gotta take all them plans, ball them up in a nice, I don't wanna say ball, and chuck them away and just jump into it. So, that's what I'm doing. And let's hope it works. So hello everyone and welcome to my channel. If this is your first time, I'm so happy to have you here. I hope you enjoy my particular brand of content. It's a place where we take a break from the stresses and worries of the world and just relax. I'll try to entertain you with my dulcet tones and overall just let it wash over you and hopefully calm you down and give you that kind of nice relaxed feeling. And to those of you who are visiting again, thank you so much for coming back. I know it's been a while, so I apologize to those of you who've gotten used to my somewhat regular output. I was trying to just get something out, once a week, because it helps me as well to get into that nice routine, that kind of vibes, but sometimes, as I said, these things they go by the wayside, but I'm keen not to let this be another thing that I started doing and I just sort of drifted off. And so here I am, just doing it. As you can see, I'm still working. This is my self-styled work clothes. For those of you who remember from previous vlogs, I said it's good to have something that demarcates work day and evening. So after this I take this off, I go and play, and that's one of the things you plan for. You say, okay, right, I need to make sure I finish work, come and do this properly. Okay, I get something to eat so I'm not too hungry. Make sure I spruce up a bit. All these things kind of come into play, and then you realize time has gone. So I thought I'll just put it on and say hello to my peoples. So if I've done this correctly, the title of this vlog should be I Lost a Year. Oh, so well, we all kind of lost a year of our lives, but it's more that I lost a month of my life, the past month and a couple of weeks, I'd say, and nothing serious, nothing like any amnesia or anything like that, so let me not get accused of clickbait. It was just more I think the regular things you do in life, some of the regular routines, some of the bits that you do just kind of go a bit sideways sometimes. Doesn't happen rarely, but it's an odd feeling when it does. And I guess from that I could see how people who perhaps don't have a certain kind of support group can just kind of zone out of life and maybe can't quite get back into it. So you just, I don't know if maybe it is a form of depression. I don't think it is, but it's just a kind of I've spoken of this lethargy. I hope that's a correct enunciation. Yeah, when you're feeling lethargic, that can kind of happen, and it can be a struggle to kind of keep your spirits up. Obviously there's a lot in the world that's going on to bring us down. I'm not even talking about football if you're an England fan or in the Euros. The general COVID thing, I think, is just had a blanket over us all, but there's small shoots of recovery, as they say. There's been natural disasters, in the Caribbean. We've already had a hurricane, so soon into the hurricane season. There's been fires and rains, and all these things could affect you. But I guess the kind of thing I'm talking about is not so much those things that bring you down, just that feeling like you're not in control anymore. You're just kind of drifting along. If you have kids, it's a bit hard to zone out totally, because they say you must feed them and keep them safe, so you have to kind of keep doing that as part of your regular routine. But I think it's just say like you normally speak to some set of people, even if it's once a week, once every couple of weeks or something like that. You probably have your circle that you do. You find that hasn't happened. If you do any kind of hobbies or you work out or something like that, or like this, somehow you think, oh, it's been over a week, I haven't done that. when you were doing it almost daily before. You know, maybe it's something like even your grooming. There's some guys who shave their hair at least once a week or something like that. Some guys every day, depending on how your hair grows. Ladies, let me not forget you. Some ladies who do their tweezers and things like that. You know, eyebrows, whatever. It's personal enhancements. It's not so much hygiene because you're still showering and stuff, but you just realize that some things have gone by the wayside. So that's what happened to me. I was trying to think of when it started. Maybe there was a particular trigger, and actually I think it started to coincide with a death in the family we had, a bereavement, and someone close. And that death reminded me of another one that I had. I don't want to go into too much detail, but you know, it brings up those feelings. So what happens is, I suppose, the times that you might be doing something that, you know, sort of you enjoy doing, you just find yourself thinking more about that. So that could start to do it. But also, just a practical step by step is that you're having conversations with, you know, family members who are either traveling in or just talking about it, and that takes that time that maybe you would have usually just said hello and had a little catch up. Now you're talking about funeral stuff, and you're talking to people who you haven't spoken to in a while, and which is a good thing. It's not necessarily a bad thing, you know, it just follows on. But that's how you can sort of, you know, drift away from your normal, I don't want to say routine, just the things that you do. So in addition to that, there have also been physical factors. Now that the world is opening back, there's a kind of feeling in the air that we can venture out a bit. I'm not going to like raves or anything like that. It's just more, you know, like I've taken the family out, we've gone to the park, try to just see if we can set up a little picnic. I will do a vlog of, you know, inserting some of my goings outs and abouts this summer. It's just family outings really in different parks. But one of the last ones we went to, my oldest boy is beginning to experiment with his gymnastics. Not nothing to do with Olympics, but you know, you get to an age and you're starting to do your cartwheel. You've seen it somewhere, and of course, as a parent, you want to show them a safe way to do it, as far as you know, because you know what you used to do as kids. But a cartwheel, you think it's easy something, and my plan was just sort of to show him a simple tumble. And you know, keep his arms straight. Just essentially, the main rule is don't let your head touch the ground, so you don't fall. Keep your arms straight. But I kind of just demoed one, and I kind of went over nice and smoothly, and I thought, oh wow, okay, I'm surprised I could still get over, because you know, you start to forget that you're not quite 14 anymore, you're more like 40. So of course I did a few of those. I was feeling good. I was saying, look son, you could either twist and land 2 feet forward, or twist and land 2 feet back, but you want to make it 1 foot after the other like a ballerina, you know. Whoop, whoop. And then you know, showing him how to do it. He's obviously excited. And of course, now you're in the zone. Now I'm playing some air badminton just with your toys, but you know, you're diving here, you're reaching. I've kicked off my shoes, I'm all in there barefoot, forget all about my bursitis and all this kind of stuff. So needless to say, a couple of days later, you start to feel that little twinge in the, you know, the groin area. That heel is not doing quite so well. But then what that means is you kind of take it easy with all the physical activity you're doing, because I think I've mentioned before that I do you know, just like these half-hour high-intensity workouts every day. Well, usually 5 days a week. You know, just something to keep you going when you're working from home. So because you take a break from that now, you don't kind of replace it with doing anything productive. You're just sort of nursing yourself back, and then you sort of, you know, you relax a bit more. You're watching more TV, or you're reading something which you know you've had to read for ages. Reading is another thing that we'll talk about sometime. You know, I'm trying to let my boys see me reading, so they know it's something that people do. But of course, I'm wondering how relevant that's going to be in their lives, you know. But at least it'll be there for their enjoyment. But as to what they can do with it, self-improvement wise, we'll see. To be discussed. But yeah, so that's just another thing that's been going on with me. I'm fine now. I'm more limber. I haven't gotten back into that physical thing yet because, you know, you gotta take it easy. I keep saying 40, but I think I'm probably officially closer to 46 than 45 now. So got to take it easy. So there's also been some technical issues where I use a MacBook Pro from like 2013. It still works fine, it's still brilliant. You can see the quality of what it does. And I use it with a Thunderbolt monitor. So for those of you who have that, there is a known issue where the battery can start to degrade after a while. I mean, we're talking 8 years plus now. So the particular issue it does is it swells. And it's nice to do with overcharging. It just over time it will swell, and then you find you can't close the lid properly. But also, if you have the mouse pad enabled for when you're using a monitor, or you're using a Bluetooth mouse in addition to mouse pad, you might find sometimes your mouse darts aside. Now it can be quite scary because it seems like somebody's taking over your computer, because it just kind of darts to a point and it emulates clicking about. But what's happening is the mouse pad on the MacBook is competing with the Bluetooth, so they're darting around, and sometimes you might just lose connection. Now, to make things more complicated for me, I also have a a regular wire hooked into the monitor. So all of that is just to say, don't worry about it, the battery is fine. But it's another thing I had to like follow up on, call the Apple people, do diagnostics and all of this. So it's another thing that took me out of the routine, but they've managed to, there's a way to disable the mouse pad when you're connected. And of course, those of you who knows, when they do a update of the software, ooh, it's not great, man. Sometimes it just turns your machine into a brick. Yes, that's the technical term, you know. So all of that has been happening, but as I said, it's not nothing bad. It's just I just felt like I lost control of things. And I've been to a christening. One of my nephews, you know, all this lockdown lovings. I won't go into that. You know, there's been a couple of babies. There's been some deaths, but you know, we've had a couple of babies born just to counter, I guess. So it's been nice to see that family and that kind of celebration of new life, you know, as we say goodbye to the old ones. You know, as I'm recording this, I have another family funeral, but you know, these things, they can get to us. So it's important to try and always balance those with new memories. This was just a kind of get back in the do kind of output. I hope all of you are well, and well, not just physically, but make sure you look after their mental health. Keep making those lovely memories. The world is slowly opening back, or trying to. Obviously, it's one big great experiment, however you're doing it, because it's really the only way to know whether we're ready. So of course, depending on when you're watching this, I hope that if you're watching this, you know, in a couple of months' time, everybody's open. Those countries that have had a hard time getting their vaccines together are all being helped. You know, I think the COVAX system, where the countries that can are helping the countries that can't, is all turning over nicely, and there's lots of good news into the world. Olympics is going on now, so hopefully it's done and we haven't had too much more infections than they've experienced. And all in all, you know, life is going ahead. Cinemas are opening, so hopefully you guys are watching some nice films. I shall continue with this comeback series, I'll call it. So I won't say too much now. I'll close this because I still want to keep it in that small vibe. So I won't do too much editing of this. It's just to say, you know, I'm back in the zone, baby. I've upped myself and put myself back in it. So you do too. There's going to be some news of a new job. I might even change wardrobes for that. I think it's time to let these have another life with someone, because I've been rocking them as a uniform for probably like a good 3 or 4 years. There's definitely be some after work parties even in them, so that's how you know. So you take care, keep smiling, like, subscribe if you haven't, comment, and until next time. I think this time I shall try a different way to end these videos. Take care.